Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Play the Tape. I am your host, Derek J. Fields. Listen, it is a pleasure being here today. Listen, my guest today is a brother of mine that I'm just learning about his story, his background, and the things he's doing in the addiction community. Listen, my guest today is someone that I inspire to be, someone that I admire their story, and someone that is doing what they need to do in this addiction community. Like I said, I had to say it again because it's prevalent and it's poignant. Listen, he's been in the pro wrestling his whole life. I've loved that you've been involved in pro wrestling. We get to some of that too, if we can. My guest today fell into a massive cocaine problem, using and selling, but now he's a minister and has been clean and sober for over 6 years and help as many people he can with their addiction issues. My guest today has created a platform for creators to come on and stretch their wings to express total uncensored freedom, a place where the heart of the broadcasting can be once again beat in the antisocial network. My guest today, my brother today, is Mr. Rob Wiles. How you doing today?
My God, that was the nicest intro I've heard in a long time. Thank you, brother. Love your intro. That was pretty cool. I was over here just beating to it.
Thank you.
Florida, jamming to the rhythms. Yeah.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, it's something I put together, and I'm trying to introduce for my new intro and things of that nature, trying to make it more professional. Because I see how y'all working over there, antisocial, and just trying to make it more professional and make it more vibrant, more livable. But listen, we're here today, and listen, I thank you for being on my show. I want to say that I thank you for honoring and coming up here, sharing your experience, strength, and hope, your testimony, and how you got to be where you are today through all of your trials and tribulations, all your ups and downs. So, Mr. Rob Wiles, the floor is yours. You can start where anywhere you want to start.
Well, as most people in my industry, pro wrestling goes, we all fall into drug problems. Coincidentally, my drug problem wasn't actually a problem when I was wrestling, when I was going to the ring. Never went to the ring high. Never wanted to put somebody else's life at risk.
Whoa. You wrestled? You literally wrestled? Seriously?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Long time, lots of breaks and bruises. And that was another excuse for the drug use was, the pain. So I'm not going to say who really introduced me initially to Coke, but I'll say how it went down. So it was a name. It was somebody who was formerly WWF. And we did our show, went to the standard after party to go meet and greet the sponsors and all of that. And of course, start knocking it back. So I'm nice and drunk, and we have to actually get on the road to head to the next town. So he who shall not be named hops in the passenger seat instead of the driver's seat and goes, "Here you go, kid. It's on you." I said, "Are you kidding me? I'm hammered. I couldn't drive us to a whole foreign city from a foreign city. What?" And he's like, "Oh, well, here, this will help." But he pulled out a little vial of that magic white dust. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't think that's a good move. He's like, "Fine, seat yourself, pussy. I'll drive." I was young. I was brand new to wrestling. I was like, "Well, no, okay, fine. You know what? I'll try." Peer pressure.
How old were you? How old were you at that time?
25, 24, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what do I do? And he said, "Do this." So he put a little rail right there across the finger. And I was like, "Ooh, daddy, I feel good, right? I don't feel drunk anymore," because the drug tricks you into thinking it sobered you up. Mm-hmm. Somehow putting that those mood altering granule powders into your system does not suddenly make the liquor in there vanish, right? So you're still drunk, you just don't know it. But we hit the road. We got where we were going safe and sound. Of course, we were doing bumps the whole way down. I had a great time. And then didn't touch it again for about a year. And then just casually with another guy from WWF. Well, I could say him because he's gone, Sheiky baby. Me and Iron Sheik were real tight. He when he died, that hurt deep.
Yeah.
Me and Sheiky were close. So,
Yeah.
partying with Sheiky and a couple other guys who were there of Sheiky's same caliber. But all through my wrestling days, I never went to the ring intoxicated. I never stayed up and partied all night, went to sleep and missed a gig. I've never done any of those old classics. I was always there, clear and ready to rock. And then afterward,
what made you decide to have that type of standard or boundary for yourself?
Not to kill somebody. If somebody could die by my hands just like that. It's really easy for wrestlers to paralyze or kill other wrestlers. That's why we go to school.
Yeah.
So I finally, retire from wrestling, trying to find my way through. Found the local Coke guy in Pittsburgh and went and got a little bit. And then I had this bright idea of, I know enough people to where I could get a couple bags of this and sell it and pay this car off that's been like a real problem for me. So gung-ho, I'm off. I wasn't selling cocaine, but 3 weeks before I got arrested the first time. Christ. And then, and this judge in Pittsburgh was notorious for throwing people in prison forever. That's just what she did. But for some reason, she kept taking mercy on me. So I get arrested. I get sentenced to probation and go to rehab. I go to rehab from jail. I'm pissed off because I didn't want to go to rehab, but I did because the judge was making me. But as soon as I got out, right back on the running, ripping, running, going. And I became a real somebody in the drug market, which I could say that without worrying about legal repercussions because I've been caught for everything I ever did.
Was that you said that was the first time you got arrested? Was that your first time in treatment at that rehab facility at the time?
Yeah, at any facility. Yeah, it was a 28-day, and then this one sucked because they were taking state insurance, which is what the county jail got you hooked up on so you can go to rehab. So they were a county insurance kind of place. They just kind of sucked. Nice people. Their heart was in the right place, but yeah, they sucked. So I get out. Even first thing I do is call my guy, get him to front me a big bag. I start sniffing it and I start selling it again. And I was growing big until I got caught again. And this time I got caught with hey, when I got pinched the second time, I got pinched with $12,000, right? Yeah. Yeah, I got pinched with $12,000 and 2 ounces of cocaine on me in the car.
Ooh.
Well, they decided this wasn't going to go downtown because if I signed away the $12,000, then they were going to drop it down to simple possession. So they did. And I scooted by on that one. Of course, I had to go back to the original judge for sentencing, which she just put me back on probation. I said, Judge, I slipped. I had a relapse. I'm sorry. I don't want to live like this. My nose is going boop, boop. Just lying like a dollar store rug to this judge. And she knew I was lying like a rug, but she was just letting me stack it up and hang myself.
Were you still wrestling?
No.
Okay.
Now that was primarily why I started selling it in the first place, because that income wasn't there anymore. And I was trying to figure out what path I'm going to be on now. So she gives me a little probation to continue on top of the old probation, but I'm still doing what I was doing. Then I find out my dad has cancer and it's pancreatic, right? So that is always a death sentence.
Yeah.
It's a matter of when.
Right.
So I am ripping and running bad by this point. Like I'll be up for 3 days. I sit down with him one day and I said, so, because they knew what I was doing, the parents, and I said, so I just want you to know that when the worst happens, I'm going to be here to take care of mom. And he said, so what, between your runs to the bathroom to push that shit up your nose or in between your trips to jail, I don't need your fucking help. My father said this to me. Devastated me. Floored. So I disappeared, like a drug addict does.
Yeah, like we
Remove
do.
yourself.
Yeah.
Go on and just keep on doing what you're doing and just try to take the pain away. The whole time, Chris Casanova, who's my co-host on Wrestle Shoot, he was my tag team partner. Like, we go back forever. He's trying so hard to talk me back off this ledge that I am intent to jump off. After about a year of no success, he gave up, but he just kind of stopped talking to me because he couldn't handle the pressure. But as an addict, did that faze me at all? No, I'm just going to do me. I
Right.
told Chris, I'm a criminal. I'm a felon. I'm a felon. There's no coming back from this. I'm not going to go flip McBurgers. I'm done. I'm,
So so
I
you double
made
down. So you double down.
tripled.
Whew.
I mean, I went bad. There was a period of time where if you were doing cocaine in Pittsburgh, it came through my hands in some form. Like, I was really overly plugged in. Problem is, I start running out of money, and I can't understand why, because I'm doing too much of my own shit, right? Like, an
Right.
8 ball in an afternoon was breakfast. It was horrible. Whole time I'm dating this wonderful woman with these wonderful kids, and we've been together for a couple of years now.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I want to make this work with you, but I can't do something really real with a coke dealer. I need you to figure out a new way, or I just need to remove myself. I hear you. You're right. She was at that time the most important thing in my life. So I'll stop. Okay. So I
Okay.
tell her I'll stop, and I'm just hiding it now. And she knows I'm hiding it, but I'm not putting in her face. She thinks that's a step in the right direction. I'll just ignore it and it'll eventually stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was on like a 3-day bender and I finally slept. And I slept for like 22 hours, like just boom. So when I wake up finally, it's a beautiful day in Pittsburgh. I throw all the windows open. I feel like $1,000,000. I had a big, fresh, unstepped on bag of dope sitting on my ottoman that I just got, and it cost around $2,000. And I looked at it and I actually physically said out loud, I am not going to sniff any of you. I am just going to sell you. And it wasn't a half an hour later before unconsciously I'm sitting there doing key bumps. And I was like, Jesus, this is terrible. I figured out what I was doing unconsciously. And now I didn't hide anything from her except for how often I was using. She had a key to my place. I wasn't trying to keep her out of the loop at all. Well, she wanted to surprise me with lunch. So she stopped in. She walked in the door with her little fast food bag and she saw me on the couch, completely thwacked out with total margarita nose, right? It's just obvious that I've been just sitting there blasting it. And she just kind of dropped her head down and she whimperingly said, I see you've made your choice. And the sound of her key hitting my glass tabletop will ring in my head forever. Because to me, that was now I have given more than I was willing to. Now it's taking. Now, at the same time, I'm living in this apartment with this dirtbag fucking landlord who is a huge, huge cokehead and put me in a building full of cokeheads. So now I don't even got to leave my couch to do business. So it's just too easy.
Was when she put those keys on the coffee table and you heard that, and that echoes in your mind even to this day. Was that a start of okay, Rob, something isn't clicking, something isn't right? Was that a moment of clarity for you that you thought maybe something needed to change? And even if it was brief, how brief was that?
Everybody has 100 moments of clarity during their journey.
You got that right. You got that right. But was that one of your million, or was that because
That was the last one.
that was the last one. Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
you know when they say when you ask for God's help, you're going to get it on
Mm.
God's time, not yours.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So now this is obviously metaphorical, but I am praying. I'm like, "Oh my God, she's gone." And she was gone for good. I knew it. She didn't say another word, and I wasn't going to try to chase her cuz she was absolutely right. And I just start praying and I swear to God, there it is. There's a knock on my door. Whoa, is that God? No, it was a cop. And it was a cop who was at the wrong place. But when that happened and he walked away, oh, sorry to bother you, sir. I looked at my phone and I dialed mom and I said, please help me. I gotta get this under control or I'm a goner. And then what happens when dad's gone? You're alone. I mean, I have a sister, but she's also a bad addict and a real bad alcoholic. And she does damage intentionally because lots of addicts are addicted to chaos as well.
Yeah, I was. Chaos was definitely. I didn't know I was addicted to chaos until it was pointed out to me. Like, Derek, you're addicted to chaos because the way I grew up, the military, and then being in an environment of escorts, pornography, sexual immorality, the prostituting game, trying to come up in the dope game. Not only, hey, I might want to use, but I might want to sell because I can think I can do it a different way. So yeah, I can do it a better way.
I'm better than
Yeah,
those other
I'm
guys.
better than those other guys, and I know what I could get, and I know what I can sell. Yes. So saying that chaos, Rob was, yeah, it was pointed to me in a point of time while I was in treatment that I wasn't even aware I was addicted to chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and boredom is just, oh man, I live a boring life, but I'm healthy though. I'm
The thing
conscious.
about chaos is it feels so normal that trying to approach it a different way feels completely foreign and it's scary.
At
They'd
first,
rather keep using, keep living,
yeah,
running.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the familiarity of the chaos, like you
right.
said, it feels normal, it feels right, and then the thrill of surviving that chaos was
Huh,
was for me the thrill, the hunt, the chase, the feast.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. So okay, you got called your mom and in the
I said,
chaos, and
I need help. I need to. I don't know what to do next. She goes, well, I'll come pick you up right now and we'll figure it out. So with that being said, looked at my phone a little bit longer, called my landlord, said I'm leaving now today. You're paid. Don't ever contact me again. Then I called my phone company and turned off service. Took $2,000 worth of cocaine and that cell phone, plunked him in the toilet, sat in the curb, and waited for mom to show up.
mm,
And all my clients are walking by, everything good? I was like, yeah, it's fine. Just go on about your business. Just go. So we call up this place called Gateway Rehab.
mm-hmm,
And I'm talking to this counselor on the phone. This is an outpatient program. And I said, I don't need outpatient. It's not going to work. And he goes, well, listen, come in right now and let's have a conversation and let's see what it is that you need and what it is we can do for you. Okay. And I went right then. And he goes, okay, Rob, so here's a piece of paper. Now, this is going to be a non disclosure agreement between you and I, meaning we're not going to talk about this business outside the circles of the office. And then you're going to tell me your story, and I'm going to give you this cup to get a sample because I just got to be sure what you really are on. Okay. So I signed his thing, and I opened up to that dude like he was Barbara Walters. Just blah, here's everything.
mm-hmm.
And he takes the cup back. He goes, you don't mind, right? These aren't cheap. And he puts it back at his desk. And I said, no, you want me to pee in that? He goes, no. I believe everything you just told me. And you're here. And that's amazing. So he said, go home. Go to your mom's home. Don't go back to your home. Wait for me. I'll call you. And not even an hour later, he calls me back because I got you a bed tomorrow. Are you still in? And the next day, I went dancing into rehab. I was like, okay, this is what I needed. And it's almost like God grabbed that cop and went, go knock on this door first.
Mm-hmm.
And I got that, like, I just suffered that loss. My father is dying. The cops are at my door again. Fuck, I'm going to jail again. No, they just were looking for somebody else. But that was it. I'd given my clean criminal record. When I was convinced my relationship with Chris, I lost her. And I was just I was quickly on the way to the other side of the grass. So it was like I'd hit rock bottom, right? We all hit rock bottom, and we're just going to break right through that and
Break right
see
through
what's
it.
underneath that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's see what's underneath this. Maybe there's more cocaine underneath this rock bottom. Let's find out. But after that happened, and I was sitting in there, like I was in. I didn't miss a meeting. I didn't try to hide, any of those, because we know rehab. It's monotony, and it's just repetition to try to reprogram your brain to a different mode of thinking.
Right. It's a way to learn or unlearn learned behavior of how we cope as addicts. I know for me, it's a way. There was one, I was going to speak one time, and one of the young ladies was like, what was different? What was different? Because I went and spoke to a facility that I was an alumni, and she was like, what was different, Derek? I was like, my mindset was different. My mindset, I can come in here and BS and lie or manipulate. That's not going to help me, because one of the guys that was my counselor, he was a veteran. His name was Darnell. He put it to me like this, and no other therapist ever put it to me like this. And I think this is applicable in just life in general. I only can treat you on what you tell me. If you tell me a lie, I'm going to treat your lie. So if you're not being recovered in the way that you feel that you should be,
that's kind of brilliant.
It is, isn't it? It is.
Tell me a lie. All I can do is treat your lies.
Treat your lie. I only can treat your lie. I can't. Now, if you're honest with me, like you were, Rob, like I decided to be at that time, then yes, I can do my best to create a treatment and a recovery plan that's suitable for you. But if you come in here, try to lie, manipulate, and just deceive, then that's the therapy that you're going to get. That's the recovery you're going to get. Yeah, it's brilliant. That sticks in my mind to this day of, hey, if I'm lying, am I manipulative, if I'm deceitful, then that's what I'm going to get back. And I can't be mad if I'm not getting better. Better-esque.
I am so pissed off at me for lying to them and screwing me.
Yeah, right.
I know it, but I know what'll fix that. More cocaine.
More cocaine. Well, for me, more crack. Yeah, same. Crack cocaine, same. Right. Exactly.
So I'm taking rehab seriously, not just my treatment. Like, I've become a den mother up in this place.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that there's a bunch of people who are just there for a dodge, right? They don't want to go to jail, so they're sitting in rehab.
Right.
I realize there are people there who their loved ones kind of pressured them into rehab, but they weren't ready yet either. Then there are the ones who are ready. Now that breaks into a couple categories. Are you really ready to be ready? And then when you get out of here, are you going to stay that way? Ooh. And then there's the ones who are ready, but they are punishing themselves so much for everything they've done through their addiction that they are convinced all of their loved ones want nothing to do with them anymore, and they're on a one-way track to hell.
Interesting. That second one is interesting. I do know of the first one because I was the first one. When I decided to be ready, again, it was the mindset. But then I was also told that, yeah, you're ready in here, but you have to be ready out there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And in certain treatment facilities, listen, we're smart. As addicts, alcoholics, we're smart. If we wanted, there will be in certain treatment facilities that I was in.
You say smart, I say clever. We're
clever. Right. We can get whatever we want when we want it. But at the same time, it's a completely different monster when you leave treatment on your own or when your time is up, when that whiff or that air of opportunity hits you. I'm an opportunity addict. If I have opportunity, I gotta take it because the disease is like, it might be better this time.
That's right. Well, I mean, if you really think about it, how the disease repurposes people's brains, you get heroin slammers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll go out, they'll buy a bag of dope, they'll come back. One will overdose and die, and the other one will go, well, before I call the cops, I'll bet you I can handle it. And they'll shoot that same thing up.
Yep.
So that's how bad the disease gets. So when people tell me, oh no, drug addiction is a choice, not a disease. Well, that like you could say Christianity is a choice, not a. You're an idiot. Whoever says that to me, that it's a choice, not a disease, because you chose to pick up the drug the first time, that's true. But once you're hooked, you are hooked, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes the decisions for you because you're not capable of doing it anymore. And for everybody who's using, we're all trying to hide pain of some kind. We're trying to hide pain.
Yeah, I agree with that. We're trying to push down that trauma, pain,
Yeah.
trauma. It's they're equivalent to one another, and I see when I go in and I learned more of the choice and the disease. Yeah, they're synonymous to me. They're both. It is a choice to at one point to put this substance in my body, then the disease takes over once it has a
Right.
hold. Right. And then there's another choice I have to make. Well, hey, or God makes it for me or gives me situations to make the choice, or see, I need help.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there goes that choice again. Okay. The choice is, am I going to stick in this disease because I know it's a disease, or am I going to try and hustle just as hard for my next one as I am to be clean and sober? Because I tell people when I go speak, it's the same hustle. It's the same coin, but same two sides to different. It's the opposite side. If the addiction is the head, the recovery is the tail, or however you want to flip it. It's the same hustle. Whatever we did out there to get the next one, or the next one, or the next one, you got to go out there and do that to get your recovery, get your recovery, get your recovery. And just like you maybe had got some bad dope, like Rob said, some treatment facilities suck. Some doctors and counselors do suck. But when you do find a good one that has that humanity and that care, that changes the game. I have 5 that I know on by name that I still contact because they
Nice.
made a difference for me and they cared for me. And that's life changing. So, yeah, I'm with you.
And it's funny, when I first came in there, one of the guys who was in school about to get his degree to be a counselor was
Mm-hmm.
just working there. He was doing my intake and he kept looking up at me from his paperwork. And he'd do this little smirk and look back down. And then say, "Can I see your ID?" Show him my ID, he'd smirk and look back down. And he finally goes, "This is so cool." I said, What's going on here? What am I missing? He goes,
Right.
"You're Rob Wilds." I was like, "Oh, yeah." He goes, "Yeah,
Oh,
dude. Yeah, dude. I used
yeah,
to watch
dude.
you all the time, man." I was like, "Oh shit." He goes, "And now I see your real last name, and that's just cool." And I'm all right. But the point was I was making about earlier, the ones who were like, they're never going to forgive me, I'm going to go to hell.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I would tell them, you know, everybody in your life who you think hates you right now, even if they think they hate you, they just want to see you get well so they feel safe to
Yes.
move forward with you. And
Yes.
as far as going to hell goes, buddy, all you got to do is ask for forgiveness and you'll have it.
Yeah,
And they
absolutely.
look at me like, well, who the hell are you? You're just another junkie. So I was really pondering this issue. And that's when I decided to get my minister's license.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go back to these rehabs and now I say, I am here to hold God up to a promise he made all of us a long time ago. And
Right.
that is, if you want it, you just have to ask for it. You just have to want it, and I am here to give it to you. And I show him my card, my pretty gold leaf, black, shiny minister's license. There it is. I'm one of the boys. I am here to forgive you for God.
Can I share something with you? So this is
Oh,
what God has put on me, Rob, as far as I'm going to school to get my degree in theology and go to seminary. I
oh,
want, yes, for sure. I want to integrate biblical services back into treatment because it's not prioritized as much as the other things are when we go to treatment. Like you have your rec therapist, you have your physician, you have your counselors, you have your one-on-ones. Where's the chaplain? I believe the chaplain should be there Monday through Friday and on call, just like the regular doctors are, just like the physicians are, just like the rec therapists are, just like the counselors are, the psychiatrists or the psychologists. They should be there too for people like you and me who have come to know where our strength comes from in God, and those who are curious to know what is it about y'all or you, like you said, with your card, going in there and giving them what they need on that level. I think, what do you think about that? I think that's something that God has placed on my heart and on my spirit to do. And like Derek, go back to school, learn the word of God. That way, when you go in there, learn counseling techniques. That way you go in there, not only do you have the experience, strength, and hope of being an addict, being someone in recovery, they can relate to you on that level, but now you're building a spiritual foundation in Christ, who is my higher power, to give to people who need it and who think they don't need it, but still need it. What do you think?
I think that's a very touchy proposition. Now, we had a chaplain, we not a chaplain, we had Father Joe,
Mm-hmm.
who would come in twice a week. And he would just go into the conference room. He'd have a seat. And he'd wait for people to come in. So he wants to have a conversation, but he never went to them. Like, come on, you need to talk to me.
No, no,
They
no.
make that. They make
No,
that
sorry,
decision
sorry,
themselves.
sorry. I didn't explain it right. I'm what he's doing, what he
Is what
did.
he
That's
does.
what I will be doing, but I'm gonna be doing it Monday through Friday, and whoever comes can come, and whoever needs me can it needs me. And
I
if
would
the
say
if the
that you,
institution needs me to be on call, just like someone to be in the hospital or hospice, hey, they got a chaplain on staff. You see what I'm saying? The same principles apply. I'm not calling anyone to come into the room. But what I am doing is letting them know that, hey, Chaplain Fields is here. Anyone wants to come into this conference room, I'm here all day long because I'm contracting out my services. I'm here all day. Even if it's just one person, I need to be there.
I would take that idea if you're going to be contracting out, and I would expand that to spend a different day in each facility.
All right, I
That's
like
what I
that.
would.
I
That's
think
what I would do.
I'll write
Because
that down. Yeah,
if you're just sitting there in a room and the same one person comes in every day, that's great that that person is getting the help that they need. But at the same time, there are people in other facilities who could probably use that reach out.
absolutely. And that's the contracting part. Once you get established, you hire more chaplains that have that biblical worldview that you spread out into other treatment facilities. Right.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the contracting part. But yeah, I'm with you. I am so with you that you come in there and you give them not only your experience, strength, and hope, you give them God, you give them, hey, repent and you will be forgiven. So take easy does it, or take that burden, give that burden to God. And like you said, which I agree, your family and your friends just want to know that they can trust you again, because what has been told shared to me is that they are also in recovery. They're in recovery from us, the
They
addict.
help.
Yeah.
Al-Anon. Al-Anon.
Al-Anon. Yeah, they got Nalanon too for NA. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
They
man.
got, did you know that they have one for weed?
Yes, they do.
And they
They have.
actually wrote their own big book. How
Yep.
long do you think that book took to write?
I
They're
don't.
like, that's a good idea.
Yes, they do. They have fellowship for everything. Everything. They have an anonymous
Everything.
for everything now. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they
And I
do.
was very fortunate with my addiction that it was cocaine. In the fact that I was made aware, I was taught that medically speaking, cocaine has no physically addictive qualities. But as we all know, any kind of a mental addiction is just as strong
Yes.
as. But once I was told that and I was shown the evidence, from there on, it was easier for me. If it was like heroin or if it was pills, I don't know if I would have had the strength to make it out of that. I would like to think that I do, but who knows? Because it's a touchy world. And anybody who's listening, right? If you're sitting there right now watching this and you're suffering in silence, you don't have to be. And that's what people who are in active addiction lose sight of. You do not have to suffer in silence, and you do not have to do this alone. There are two people sitting on your computer that you don't know who want to help you. And
Yes.
that's got to make you feel some kind of way. And you've tried so many things in your life that some have worked, some have not. So what's it going to hurt to try getting clean for 6 months? Right? If you don't like it, your misery's refundable. You can have it all back. But who wants it?
Yeah. I like that. I like that. In that time before you became a minister, how did was that treatment facility? Was that the last one? Was that the
Yep.
last relapse?
Yeah,
Good for
that
you,
was my
man.
last one. Well, it
Good for
wasn't my
you.
last relapse. It
Right,
was
but
just when
last
I
treatment
decided
facility.
to
Right,
be
right.
done. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But once I made the call, I was done. And then it all kind of came full circle for me after I got my minister's license. We were sitting, me and my dad, outside of Panera.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so this conversation didn't go well last time we had it, but I still need you to know that when the worst happens, I'm here. And he said, I believe you this time. Oh, that right there made
Mm-hmm.
all of that fight to get clean worth it. So, like, forever, I'm a felon.
That
Like,
gave
forever.
me goosebumps. I'm sorry, that gave me goosebumps. I felt that.
Yeah.
I felt that in my spirit, Rob. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't. I just felt that because I know where that came from. I just know how God used that for you, and I know that there was some healing for you when He said that.
Oh, yeah. And he still heals me. I mean, like, when I start really having those cravings, oh, God, I got to get that. When I get past the craving, that night, I always have the same dream of my dad looking like he looked in Vietnam. And he always does this.
Mm.
And I figured he's telling me, calm down, you're doing great.
I know that's right. I
Yeah.
know that's right. Yeah, I like that. That just gives me so much. And like Rob said, this is what we do here on Antisocial and Play the Tape. We give people hope, man. We've come so far, and there's two strangers here talking to you. However you may be listening, however you may be watching, that we love you, and we do this because of that. And that just gave me chills, man. Good chills, like joy, like.
Good chills.
Yes, good chills, good joy chills.
Not Freddy
Not
chills.
Freddy chills, no. Yeah, so
But
yeah,
you're
y'all
right.
was
And
at.
that's the hardest thing that people in active addiction, because when you are in active addiction, you're about you.
Yeah.
Your next high, everybody else be damned. So it's hard for you to imagine anybody else not having that exact same attitude. But if you're watching this, you're watching it for a reason. So maybe you should ask yourself, why am I still watching Play the Tape? Because I started it and we're 38 and 58 seconds in, and I'm still watching. There's a reason for that. There is that voice in your head who knows that you deserve better than what you're giving yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Just
sir.
if you don't do it for faith, for family, you deserve it. Because I tell you, I mean, look at me now. 6 years later, I am a minister. Oh, I know. Sorry, my dog's upset.
No, that's fine. I'm petting mine right now. He's right by my leg.
I'm a minister. I work in the financial industry. Uh, I'm doing things that somebody with 3 felony hits. Come here, baby. Come here. With 3 felony hits should not be allowed to do. But the world does forgive. and
Yes.
they do give you opportunity. You don't have to flip burgers just because you have drug dealing convictions. You don't have to do that. There is so much better for you that you don't understand because you forgot what that's even like.
Right. Right.
And that's the worst part is when you realize how much time you took away from yourself. Like me, I had a great run. I never hurt anybody, right? I never stole anything. I never screwed anybody over to get my drug. Counselor says, "What about your family? What about the time you stole from them? Your dad's dying and you vanished because he said something you didn't like." I was like, "Damn it." All right, you're right. So I did hurt people. Even
Yeah.
when you think you're not hurting people, you are hurting
You're
people.
hurting people. Yeah. That was told to me too in treatment, and because I was doing cognitive behavioral therapy with one of with Miss Tanya, and I love her. She's one of the people that on my top five, in my top five, in my handful of people
I
that I
had a miss
remember.
on you too.
You did? That's
Yeah. Yeah.
see how that worked? That's
Yeah.
funny. That's good. So I was coming out and I was upset with my dad from that whole situation growing up. He was a good dad, but he had his issues as well. And one of the technicians, she was become Tiffany. She was becoming she was going to school to become a therapist and getting her certification and her license. And she was like, "Derek, come here." I was like, "What you mad about?" I was like, "I'm mad at my dad. I'm mad at the world." And she looked at me and she gave me the epiphany, just like whoever gave you yours, was you hurt people too. And that blew me away, Rob, and it made me turn mirror on self and be like, dang,
And don't we
I
hate
did.
that?
Yes. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, dang.
I don't want to be looking in that mirror. I want lines of coke on this mirror. Get that away from me.
Yes, I want my rocks on that mirror.
Get out of
Right.
here.
Yeah. And- but and we're not glorifying anything, but we're just saying how an addict thinks.
Yeah.
This is how we used to think. And we can laugh at it now because we're being removed and we're being healed and redeemed every day. That's why we're able to laugh about it. Laughter is definitely healing for the spirit and the soul. So, but yeah, I'm with you. That enlightenment of, man, you've hurt people too, Derek, that was a shot, Rob.
And something serious too. It's not like you hurt somebody's feelings. You have wounded people in
Mhm.
your life because of what you're doing to you. They are still left with scars just like you. Okay, well, you know what? Now that you know that, you could start doing what's right by them.
Right. The amend, keeping the amends. I people, because I'm still building back my family, still building back a relationship that with my daughter and with one of my brothers. And when I go talk to people, and when I'm talking to the audience here on Play the Tape, and when you share it on your platform, Antisocial, I want people to know that keeping your amends is the best way to show people that you're serious. Because I know for me, I'm sorry doesn't go far anymore. It just doesn't.
Right. Yeah. You can only I'm sorry so many times for they just stuff you're sorry in a sack. I don't want
Yeah,
to hear that.
I don't want to hear
Oh
it.
great. Oh great. You cleaned out my bank account, but at least you're fucking sorry.
Sorry. Exactly.
Get out of here.
it
And
it it just don't hold weight. The amends of you stay, like Rob said, and I like how you put it, staying clean, staying sober, doing the next right thing, showing that they can trust you again, to be around you and to be safe around you. I think you couldn't have put it no better than that. That was good. I'm gonna take that with me. And this is why I do these things, because I learn something new every day, especially when I talk to my addicts who are in recovery and working their program and working their recovery. I learn something new all the time that I take with me. So I thank you for that.
now, sir, I do gotta put this out there before my people start calling me a hypocrite. I weaned myself off coke, and I think one of the things that have helped me stay successfully clean from cocaine is cannabis. I support cannabis use. People who are coming off opiates, especially, it has shown that that increases the odds of their longevity in their sobriety. So with that being said, people, I am not saying replace one drug for another. I'm saying if your doctor tells you a little bit of weed is okay, everybody in the program is going to tell you no, it's not. But you have to make that call for yourself. The physical pain I still feel all over my body from all those years in the ring. If it wasn't for smoke, I would be relying on different kinds of pills, over the counter, non narcotic, whatever, but I'd be inhaling pills. Now, for me personally, I don't go that route. That's me. I'm not saying that's right for you, but my people, especially my people in the program, know my views on it, and I would hate to start getting called a hypocrite.
And that's fine. I'm glad that you clarified that because I know for me, I have to be completely abstinent because I can't.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I would be smoking weed till the day I die because that's just what I enjoyed to do before. And I'm just glad you clarified that because for me, I know abstinence is for me. You have to walk your recovery journey for yourself and understand that if that is where you need to be, because we can all abuse prescription drugs just as easily as anything else. So understand what Rob is trying to say to you. He's understanding that that was works for him. What works for Derek is abstinence, and even pills. I can't even. I have to take prescribed for like my psychiatric meds, which I don't take anymore. I used to. I've been 3 years without taking them because I found a different route and I found ways to cope, which is possible. So there's different strokes for different folks. So, and I'm glad you cleared that up. And I'm glad you shared that with us. And I love transparency and I love honesty. I'm always about that. So thank you for that.
I'm also going to share a dream with you I had the first night, which ties into somebody I am going to mention who was incredibly helpful to me getting clean. And that's I'm in rehab the very first night. Now, we all know that windows in rehab simply don't open, right?
Right.
I was also happened to be on the second floor, but in my dream, I'm on the bottom floor and I'm in bed, and this big black SUV pulls up and it's just pumping out some NWA. And I peek out the window, and Kevin Nash puts the window down and goes, "Come on, get in." And all this weed smoke is rolling out. And I glance over and I see fucking Bret Hart sitting in the passenger seat doing a big line of coke. And I look up and I see Jake the Snake hanging out a sunroof with a bottle of whiskey in his hand. And they're all going, "Come on, Rob, come with us. Get in, get in." I was like, in my dream, I said, "Well, I'm not going to do that, but you guys can get in here." And I opened the window. And then I woke up. Years later, I finally run into Jake again, because that used to be Jake. Every poison that Jake the Snake could put in his body, he did. Big, big demons that dude spent his life running from. But we all know that. I'm
Yeah.
not blowing up his spot. We know
Right.
that Jake is tortured. We
Yes.
also know that Jake's been sober for a few years. So I did the Smells Like Hope podcast that I do from time to time, and I had Jake on so we could discuss his sobriety. But the next morning when I woke up from that dream, Jake was the one thing that was on my mind because I'd partied with him so many times. And then, well, Jake is clean. Holy shit, Jake has stayed clean. If Jake can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
If Scott can do it, I can do it. That's
Yeah.
the truth.
Right.
They were in bad shape. So we had Jake on Smells Like Hope, and he was really kind of getting into his story. But I had an opportunity to give him thanks for kind of helping my guiding light by being that demonstration of what you need to be doing to maintain. I really followed a lot of the pages out of the book that Jake and Dally wrote. Dallas Page is Dallas.
Yeah. Yes, I know. But for the audience, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm with you. I've been a wrestling fan for years, and my brothers and we are. And I just took me and my wife just went to our first Royal Rumble. Well, we took her to her first.
Nice.
My wife and my brother's girlfriend. We was like, "Yo, we're going to the Royal Rumble. This is probably the best one for your first one to get introduced to how it's done." and they had a great time. So I'm with you. I'm a big I'm a fan of wrestling.
I think
I am.
besides Mania, the Rumble is the greatest
Yes.
idea they ever had.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We was like, that'll be a good one. That'll be a good one for you to uh, get the experiences going to the Royal Rumble. And my wife was like, it's better in person. She looks at it with me on TV, but she was like, Derek, it's so much better in person. So,
Oh
but
yeah,
yeah,
that
of
energy is
course.
pulsing through you like narcotics.
Yes. So,
You're just woo, yeah, ride it, ride it.
So listen, Rob, we got about 2-3 minutes. I want to do a couple things. One, I want to ask you a couple things that you're grateful for. And the reason that I do this is I let my listeners know, my viewers know that when I go speak, I tell people to give a couple things you're grateful for. Look at the glass as half full. That way you can focus on what you have and what you instead of what you don't have. And it's an anchor for you. It's something that can ground you whenever those trials, tribulations, those triggers, those euphoric thoughts, those cravings occur, something that you can hold on to and can anchor you as a
Yep.
first aid kit until you get to triage, where if that's a support system, rehab, doctor's office, calling your mother, calling your father, calling your pastor, call them whoever that you need to in your support system. So what are two things, and I know it could be more than two, but what are two things you're grateful for, Rob?
Oh, two. Okay, what are the top two? I did it. And going along with that, the
Mm-hmm.
friendships I jeopardized have all been my recovery has stop it has really strengthened those ties.
Good.
So I'm grateful for that, and that I'm here to actually care for mom with dad being gone.
Awesome. Yeah. For me, I'm grateful for being here, being able to do this, being of service, being able to use this platform to give experience, strength, and hope, and just to give encouragement. And I'm grateful for you, my guest, coming up here, my brother, in this
Oh,
fight, in this war. I'm serious, an addiction, because it's not easy, and we're in this together. And I'm grateful for everybody that's listening and supporting. And go support Antisocial Network. Come support Play the Tape. And Rob, real quick, where can they find you? What is your how can they get in touch with you? Where can they find you? Where are you posting all your social media platforms? Where can they find you, my
oh
brother?
God, there's so many. I'll just give you the major ones. You can find us
Yes.
on Facebook, and we're the Antisocial Network, or you could find us online, antisocialnetwork.net. We
Awesome.
play everything live through there, and we're about to fire up a Roku channel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Fantastic, my brother. Fantastic. Listen, it has been a blessing. It has been a pleasure. I love you so much. Thank you again for coming to do the show. This will not be the last time you up here, because I know you got so many more stories and so much more experience, strength, and hope you could give
Craziness.
to the viewers and the listeners. But I thank you so much, my brother. I really do. I appreciate your time today.
I'll tell you what, before we go out, let's give everybody a big Chuck Woolery dating game kiss, huh?
Yeah.
Mwah.
Ah. Ah, I
Bravo.
like that. I like that. Listen, my brother, I love you and thank you so much. You have a good one.
You too, sir.
Peace. That's what we do here at Play the Tape. Listen, it was so much fun talking to my brother Rob today. Listen, if no one hasn't told you today that they love you, I love you, we love you, but most importantly, God loves you. With peace comes understanding. With understanding comes love. And with love comes hope. And with hope comes recovery. Know that. Listen, if you're struggling with mental health or substance use crisis, call 988. That is the national number for any crisis, mental health, addiction, and or suicide. We love you here. God loves you here. I love you. Until next time, this has been Play the Tape. Peace.